Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé I am not willing to lie about how we met to her family and friends? I met my fiancé online on a dating app. We have been together for 2 years now and got engaged recently. However, she keeps telling me that during the wedding she wants me to give a speech, talking about how I met her while she was working at a coffee shop, and I was so attracted to her that it was love at first sight, and I immediately asked her to be my girlfriend. She says that this makes her look better and will make her look good to her friends if I say that she was so beautiful that I immediately ask her out. To clarify, she is saying I have to say that I asked her to be my girlfriend right at the counter, without even having any sort of conversation with her first. The only problem is I feel very uncomfortable with this untrue versions of events. I'm happy to say she is beautiful and that I really love her personality, and that we had a great connection. But I'm uncomfortable with this portrayal of myself as some sort of creep who asks a complete stranger to be my girlfriend. There are other lies that she wants me to go along with too. For example, I inherited a house from my grandparents, but she is asking me to tell all her friends and family that I myself paid for and bought her the house because she is so special. After I said no, she has been saying that I care more about the opinions of other people than how she feels, and that she is reconsidering if she wants to be with someone who isn't on her side. Do I have a point, or does she? Just to be clear, my fiancé said that the reason she wants me to do the speech and tell people I bought her a house is so that her friends will envy her. She has already told her friends and family those things, but it's another thing to want me to actually talk about them and lie about these things. She knows that my friends and family know I inherited a house and that we met on a dating app, but she says I have to warn them not to say anything and pretend to believe me at the wedding. She gave me an ultimatum that we won't get married if I don't agree, and hasn't talked to me for days. It looks like I'm not the a-hole based on responses. How can I get her to see the light? Now for the top comments. She has been saying that I care more about the opinions of other people. She cares what other people think. That's why you need to change the narrative. She's ashamed of the dating app and doesn't like that you didn't buy your own house. Not the a-hole, obviously. Edit. Also OP, no reason to lie about meeting online. Got my girlfriend on Tinder almost 5 years ago and I'm proud of it. Or worse, wants to establish that the house is also hers to take it when she leaves. Yeah, I thought of that too. That's a slippery road for OP because she established to all her family and friends that the house is 100% hers. So if he doesn't, our him would make sure I can prove all of them that he inherited it, and that she never owned a cent of it when the moment comes, because the moment will come. Oh, it for sure will. I get a sense already that this girl is a little shallow and believes good optics/appearances justify lying. People like that, in my experience, would get on the stated court and say the house was hers. Everyone's saying the lying is the red flag, but had anyone stopped to consider the fact that she's trying to get him to reconsider by threatening to leaving him and calling off the wedding? That's manipulation. She's trying to manipulate you by implying she's going to leave if you don't do exactly what she wants and comply to her crazy rules. To me, that's the biggest red flag of all OP. The rest of your life is going to be like this. Reconsider marrying her. Big red flags here. You can easily turn the truth into a cute story, and you should work on that together. What other lies has she told her friends and family? Indeed, what other lies has she told you? Yeah, dude. All I see is red, red, red. So much red, I'm convinced Moses is going to manifest from thin air and part your post. Why is she so adamant about all of these lies? Definitely not the a-hole. So this means she's already been lying to everyone about how you met and your house. I mean, if you're engaged, I imagine she's already been asked how you guys met. If you moved into a house together, people would have asked her about that too. Now she needs you to back up the story so she doesn't get caught. This is crazy behavior. If I were you, I would be very concerned about what else she has lied about. She has lied. She also tells her friends and family that I gave her a monthly allowance, saying she wants them to envy her. She told me she's going to quit her job after marriage so that her friends will envy that she gets to stay at home. I personally think the reason is silly that she's so competitive with her friends, but have agreed because I don't want to lose her. Dude, she is giving off so many red flags here. When you're wearing rose-tinted glasses, red flags are just flags. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting frustrated with my boyfriend for implying I don't deserve to make the money I make? I'm a 28-year-old woman and I got really lucky to get the job I have right now. I studied electrical and computer engineering in college and job hopped 4 times. Each time I switched jobs, I negotiated really hard for pay and benefits. I'm making $160,000 now. working remotely and living in a very low cost of living area. It's a really nice gig, and I recognize I'm extremely lucky to have interests that line up with a super well-paying industry, and super lucky to have been able to go to college at all. But despite that, I feel like I did work to deserve it somewhat. College was super demanding and difficult. My first few jobs had grueling schedules, and I feel like I'm being paid more for the knowledge I built over all that time. But still, I have to admit it's pretty cushy. I never work over 40 hours a week. My coworkers never contact me about work outside of my 9 to 5. I get paid stupid good money for it, and I have 2 months vacation time. So on to the conflict. My boyfriend used to work outside of home. He is an IT admin at a large company. But because of the pandemic, his job became partially remote. So we're working out of the same house, and I think he sees how different our jobs at pay are. He makes 65 grand a year and works a lot longer hours. He usually starts his day at 7 or 8 a.m. and works till 6 or 7 p.m. He more often has to work weekends to do IT stuff, and he's on call for emergencies with his personal phone. And it seems like they're having emergencies every week. So, since we've been working from home together, he makes comments about it occasionally. Like, must be nice kinds of things. Recently, he's gotten more frustrated with me though. Yesterday, I had a bad headache, so I told my boss that I was going to be away from my desk for a while since I wasn't feeling well. I blocked out a 2-hour meeting on my calendar so people wouldn't try to reach me and took a nap. My boyfriend saw me napping during work and said, "They're really paying you to sleep, huh?" I snapped at him saying that they were paying me for my skills and that I didn't like the way he had been talking about my job. He said something petty about my skills at napping and shooting the shit on Zoom and how that's definitely worth 6 figures. I got really irritated and said that just because he was underpaid doesn't mean that he could call me overpaid. And if he was mad, he should go take that out on his boss, not me. He said that I was being ridiculous. He'd be in the crapper at work if he did. I said maybe he needs to find a better job if his boss isn't ready to talk money. He called me privileged and out of touch and said that it isn't that easy to just go find a better job. I said that if you don't try, you're never going to know. He got irritated and stormed out. Am I the a-hole for how I talked to my boyfriend about work? Not the a-hole. He is jealous, which isn't healthy, but you earned what you have and you should be proud. Don't let his fragile ego bring you down. To add on, his jealousy is a red flag. Partners should be happy for each other and build each other up. Making comments like that isn't healthy. Exactly. Her success did not come at the expense of his. In a healthy relationship, one person's success benefits both. Not the a-hole, obviously, but I'm really sorry this isn't going to work out. For a partnership to work, you need to support each other and build each other up. He's jealous, of course. Me too. Stupid arts degree. But he's trying to diminish you rather than celebrating where you've gotten to and asking for advice. You really do deserve someone who thinks you're amazing. This right here. My work situation is similar to OP's, and my wife was surprised at first when she realized it. Never did she put me down or diminish it. Instead, she talks about how inspiring it is to her to see how my company treats me, and how she hopes to find as good of a career as me someday. She's significantly younger. OP deserves a partner mature enough to handle the ramifications of his own decisions. So I had a boyfriend that belittled me and started fights over arbitrary things because I was making double what he was. His insecurity blinded his ability to be happy for what I worked really hard for. I'm saying everything in past tense because I dumped a guy and found someone who supports me in every way possible. You should do the same. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to my sister's wedding? My sister is getting married next month. My husband and I were both planning on going, but when we got the invitation, it was only for me. When I called my sister to ask about it, she said my husband was of course fine to come, but she requested that he not be in any family photos. My husband is in a wheelchair. I've been married to him for 8 years. He has been in a wheelchair since he was 16, and my family's always ever known him to be in his chair. Apparently, my sister doesn't want him in any of her wedding photos because she is afraid that he'll take attention away from her because he is different. She justifies this by saying when people come over and see our family photo, they always ask about him because he's the only one that is in a wheelchair, so he stands out. She says she wants to be the main focus in her photos. I was livid. I went off on her and told her she was being a selfish bridezilla and told her we wouldn't be coming. I've been getting calls from my parents and relatives telling me I need to apologize to my sister because now she's upset. I'm angry at them for thinking it's okay to leave my husband out of family photos because of his disability. My husband hates being a burden on people, and he says he's fine with not being in the photos. which made me even angrier, because now he feels bad about himself for something I feel is unwanted. Am I the a-hole if I don't support my sister's big day because of this? My husband says we should be there for family even if he can't be in the photos. My family says I need to apologize, but I feel like this is an issue I need to fight for. Am I wrong? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole at all. This is absolutely an issue that you need to fight for. Your sister wants to exclude your husband for no reason than his wheelchair, and that is unacceptable. She's being a bridezilla for sure, and your a-hole family members are backing her up. Don't feel 1 ounce of guilt for her. That's just freaking awful, and she needs to get over herself. OP, schedule a photo shoot with you and your husband on her wedding day. Go all out. Make them spectacular and post them to show how amazingly photogenic your husband is. Your sister wants to spend her day disrespecting your loving marriage because she thinks she's competing with a disability for attention. She clearly doesn't understand relationships enough to get married, although that's another issue, I guess. I wouldn't go to the wedding either because your sister cares more about photos than humans. Tell her to hire some actors that look exactly as she wants them. That way she gets her perfect moment and you don't have to be there. That's hilarious. I'll tell her my wedding gift to her is to hire some semi-attractive actors to take our place. That way she can get the perfect photo. But just semi-attractive. If they're too pretty, then she'll be competing again. Maybe you should leave casting to her and just foot the bill. I told your idea to my husband and he cracked up. Although he said that since the wedding's mostly family, sending someone in our place would probably cause even more of an attention grab, and what we should do instead is send cardboard cutouts of ourselves in our place. Not stay home. This makes me so mad when people forgot what a wedding is about, just because they want the perfect wedding. Weddings are about two individuals joining their life together and deeply loving each other, not having picture perfect to show and post on your Instagram. This is so superficial. That picture to post on Instagram is very important to her. She has kind of always been obsessed with image. But she's never said anything negative about my husband before, and this request really shocked me. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for getting mad at my mom for refusing to let my wife host a single holiday? I've been married for 6 years, and my wife and my mom have never really gotten along. I don't think my mom is an awful mother-in-law. They just don't vibe, and they avoid each other if they can. I would describe the relationship as frosty. My mom does respect our boundaries and doesn't undermine us as parents. She just keeps a pretty big distance and doesn't interact much. My mom hosts all holidays at her house, as does my mother-in-law. My wife and I rotate which family we celebrate with, and my mom is cool with that and has never pressured us to go to her house. Recently, my wife has expressed that she wants to turn to host, and she feels like since we have kids, 4 and 2, that the mom should hand it over to her. She talked to her mom, who was very sad, but agreed to let my wife have one holiday. I talked to my mom, since we both do the communication with our own family, and my mom said no. I gave her my wife's reasons. 1, we have young kids. 2, we have our own house now and our little family, and it's exciting for my wife. 3, my mom got 20 plus years of hosting. My mom said no again. She said if we don't want to come over, we don't have to, but she will not be coming to our house. She said we can invite my side of the family, but she honestly thinks that would be an a-hole thing to do. I asked if she really was willing to give up her holiday with her grandkids, and she said yes. I did get frustrated and called her selfish. The conversation ended with my mom yelling at me that I'm a hypocrite, and she feels like I expect her to care about my wife more than she is obligated to. I asked around and none of my relatives are willing to come, but my sister did yell at me and said I'm a bad son, and I'm disrespectful for thinking our mom should give up something she cares about. I work for my stepdad's company and is currently not talking to me, and I guess my whole extended family's talking bad about me, and they are offended that I thought they would come to my house. Your mom is being childish and trying to weaponize your relationship to keep a parental control on you. Set up those boundaries. You have your own family life, and it doesn't sound like she's willing to share in it currently. Common mom BS, but you may be surprised how well boundaries and putting your foot down can work. LMAO. I hope his wife wants to host. His mom said she's staying home and hosting her own thing. What boundaries do you think are going to help? If anything, his mom has already set boundaries and put her foot down. If you have kids old enough to host their own holidays, then presumably you have had years and years and years of hosting. There's nothing wrong with allowing your now adult children to host for a change. If everyone hosted their own thing, then no gatherings would exist, and families would all just be at home on their own. Not stay home, but I'm baffled by anyone wanting to host holidays. The best part is going elsewhere to eat too much and coming home to a quiet house with no mess to clean up. Not stay home, but your side of the family sure is. Wow, so much to unpack here. I don't think my mom is an awful mother-in-law, but the conversation ended with my mom yelling at me that I'm a hypocrite, and she feels like I expect her to care about my wife more than she's obligated to. She's not obligated to care about your wife. She should want to care about the person you have chosen to spend your life with and build a family around. Your mother absolutely is a bad mother-in-law. She is too selfish and controlling to let your wife host a holiday. That is petty and nasty. She has had her time to host. Do your own thing and invite who you want. Those that show up are your true family. Cherish those people. I guess she's a bad mother-in-law. I find my mother-in-law super overbearing and in our face. So sometimes I guess I envy my wife for having a mother-in-law who does not give a hoot.